Hi, Ned here from Callister Company, here to talk to you a little bit about packing. What I've done is I've tried to divide our packing up into two sections, our short-term packing and long-term packing. So first we're going to cover our short-term packing, and we're going to talk a little bit about our equipment that will go on our horse and so forth. First off, of course, your horses need to be in good condition so that you can take them up in the mountains and hills. A good equipment is absolutely essential. So a good bridle and reins, a nice comfortable saddle and saddle pad is everything that you might need for yourself. I do like to recommend that you use a back cinch versus not. Sometimes when you're going up and down hills, that does help to keep your saddle in place. So you want to make sure you have a good comfortable saddle, and I like lots of strings on my saddle so that you have plenty of things to tie whatever kinds of things that you might need to and want to tie on to your horse. Next thing you will need to have is when you're finished going up or finding your destination that you want to stop and have a little something to eat, you'll need to have a halter and a lead rope so you can tie your animal up. Also, some people prefer this little gadget right here is called a halter bridle combo, which you can attach a bit into it, and when you're done or you're at your destination where you want to tie your horse up at, you can just unsnap the bit off. You have a halter right here, and you can tie your lead rope on and just tie your horse up right at that spot. Some other kinds of things that will help you and help your horse stay comfortable is if you're carrying a big load, or if your saddle may not happen to fit just perfect, there are what this is called is a saddle britchin. This saddle britchin fits just like this on the horse, and then it attaches into your saddle like this, so it helps keep the saddle so it does not shift. Another nice thing is a breast collar, so that it doesn't help, so it does help so your saddle is not shifting. Shifting and movement is not a good thing for any type of packing situation. You want to make sure you're staying right firm. Another item that you can use is some people like these. These are called a crupper. The croupers go underneath the tail and then attach into your saddle. One thing I do want to mention about a crupper is once you put something underneath the horse's tail, if he's not used to it, he's maybe not gonna care too much about that. So you need to make sure that you prepare before you get out on the trail and make sure he's used to that. So croupers are often used to sometimes stabilize that as well. So those are some of the kinds of things that you can use for you as a rider to make sure your ride is very comfortable. There's some other things that you want to take for short term. If you want to take some food and so forth, you'll need something to carry that with. So oftentimes, depending on your load, you can take saddlebags. Your saddlebags attach right onto your saddle. Your strings will go right through these little grommet areas. And you want to make sure that the bottom of the bag is tied down as well. Most of them will have a little ring right here so that you can tie it in. If you don't do that and your horse gets going a little bit faster than a walk, you'll be waving your saddlebags, and you don't like that. Your horse may not like it as well. So saddlebags that go on the back here come in a variety of different ways. They come in leather, they come in different sizes. They also come in insulation, so that if you want to take something cold, you can keep your food cold or even warm if you have a preference to that. There's other places on your saddle that you can put other bags and so forth. If you don't want to take a large saddle bag like this This is called a cantle bag that fits right back of the cantle. Fits really nice, and so it's right out of your way as you're getting on and off the horse. It's got a nice big zipper so you can put a lot of different things inside there. This is another little bag that you can use. It's called a horn bag. You'll notice that it's facing forward. Horn bag fits right over the horn, faces forward so it stays out of the way of your leg. And you can put various things, whatever kinds of things that you want to take, which we'll talk about in just a minute. So a horn bag, you can take your little bag. Obviously you want to take something that'll carry water with you. So you have a canteen or a water bottle with other things if you want to take your camera or cell phone. And so there's a variety of different types of bags that will meet your needs, whether they're large or small. Now, there's a couple of things that I suggest that you take while you go on the trail. Some of them are for just purposes that just in the event that you run into a problem, that you can have something there to take care of those issues. One of the obviously when you go out, one of the joys of going out in the outback and up in the mountains and so forth is enjoying the countryside. And oftentimes we like to take pictures and so forth. So you have your bags, camera. It might be a great idea to take with you. Food and water. Whenever I go into the back country, I like to take a little bit more than I always need. If you're going for just the day, which we're talking about right now with short term, you can take enough water and food. Some people like great snacks like beef jerky, nuts. They're great for on the trail. Some even go all out and they want to take some freeze-dried food with them and have a nice meal out there depending on how long they're out there. So food and water are very essential. You want to make sure that your horse is fed, and the places you're going, he'll be able to have water as well. So some of the other important things that I like to make sure that I have in my saddlebag, just in the event that you need to tie your horse up and he's a little bit, doesn't like to stick around, hobbles are a good idea to tie him up. Sometimes during the course of your as you're going up in the mountains too, sometimes you'll lose a horseshoe, and it's a good idea to have something that you can quickly maintain that horse's protection with a shoe. So oftentimes you'll take a really easy boot to put on. There's various types of these, but you'll want to make sure that this is a really a key thing in your pack. Sometimes during the course of that, which you don't really plan on, but straps and things will break, and you certainly don't plan on that, but you certainly want to be able to prepare for that. So you can always take a leather punch, some strings, an extra piece of leather, maybe some buckles so that you can snap those things together. Great idea, just in case you have issues. Of course, we don't plan on those things. Depending on the time of year, you'll certainly want to have bug spray with you for yourself and for your horse. Of course, during the winter, don't deal with that quite so much in those parts that are really cold, and other parts that are warm, you still have to deal with that. So when you're up in the mountains and you food and water are of course a very important issue, you want to make sure that you are able to get good clean water. So I always recommend that you take a water filtration system. If you drink water right out of the river or the creek, you do take a chance of getting bugs and those kinds of things. And as some people have told me that have experienced that, they're not comfortable to take care of those situations. So that's one thing that I certainly like to take. Obviously, you want to make sure that you know in the direction where you're going. Maps, compasses, GPSs are always a great thing to have while you're up there. Just in case you get caught and you have to stay the night, which you don't really want to, of course, you're just on a day trip. But I always like to make sure I take matches and a fire starter. I keep them in a little container, and waterproof matches are the best, and some fire starter to start a little fire so you can make sure you stay warm on those nights that happen to be cold. Good flashlight is always good to have in your pack. You want to make sure you have those kinds of things just for those times that are just in case. Okay, we've covered a lot of the different issues that are really important as we go out and enjoy our horse or mule as we go out and enjoy the outback country. There's a couple of things that I have missed that I have not suggested, and I think they're great things. In fact, some of them are very essential. As you're out and about, it's great to have good headwear on. Some will prefer a helmet, some will prefer a big brim hat like this. Either be felt or straw to your preference or time of year. Some, when it gets really cold, will prefer a nice warm cap. This one does have a ear flap that rolls down, so it'll cover your ears and such when on those cold times. Great to have good headgear. Another thing I like to make sure you recommend, I always take sunglasses with me. You never know when you're going to need them. So sunglasses keep your eyes protected. One thing that you never ever want to miss is you want to always have rain gear. You just never know when you're going to run into a rainstorm. So this here is called a duster. Some people like ponchos, but I like something that's large enough so when you're in the saddle that it covers you and it covers your saddle, and it can even cover part of your horse. I like this because I don't like riding in a wet saddle, so I prefer riding in a dry saddle. So something large that's going to protect you and your equipment is going to really work great. Hand gear, gloves are always a great thing to have in your bags. If you happen to be riding in a really rough country and scrub oak or so forth, these shaps were really great. These shaps come in full length and they come in a partial length to your preference, but they're great for protecting your legs in those times where you might be going through some rough country and you don't want to tear up your clothing. Another important thing is to make sure that you have great footwear. Of course, the old statement, if your feet hurt, you hurt all over, so you want to make sure you have good boots or shoes that will help protect your feet. This particular one I picked out is a lace-up. I kind of like the lace-up because you can snug them up or take them in as needed. But you want to make sure, whether it's a lace-up or a pull-on, that it is a shoe that is comfortable in the stirrup and comfortable when you're out walking around. Okay, we've covered a lot of things today and talked a little bit about how we can make our trip on horseback or mule as comfortable as possible and with the most amount of fun, which is what we really like to do. I mean, there's just hardly anything like having equipment and going out and enjoying a day out in the mountains or on the hillside. Hopefully everything that we've talked about has kind of given you a great idea of things that might be helpful to you, and we thank you very much. See you next time.